The election is already over. It's already been decided. One of the biggest lies ever told in the history of the world was that the silent majority went out and voted for Trump and refused to say that they supported Trump because it would alienate their friends who could not stand the bigot, the racist, lying con man. This cannot be any further than the truth. The real reason why Trump won in 2016 was because of voter suppression. The silent majority did not want Trump. The silent majority does not stand with Trump. The silent majority stood for Bernie Sanders in this rigged oligarchy. It was the marginalized voters were the people who wanted the only candidate who would represent real change in their lives, who was not bought and paid for by the corporate establishment. That was independent Senator Bernie Sanders. The real silent majority were the voters who were not going to vote for Trump or Hillary because they were the two most unpopular candidates in modern times. America is waking up to the rigged political system. Donald Trump's victory was a big giant fraud. This election, we have already seen two things. Number one, that people are being brainwashed by the corporate media establishment, thinking that, oh, Bernie Sanders can't beat Trump. You can only beat Trump with the moderate. That's what the DNC wants. And black people and minorities have made it known that they don't care, they don't mind whoever is the nominee. All they want to do is to get rid of Donald Trump. That is what we see with this election so far. Bernie did not win Michigan. Bernie already lost Wisconsin tonight, by the way. This is only going to make this victory for the Democrats a bigger lock than it is right now. This is the biggest lie, one of the biggest lies ever told that is being perpetuated by the mainstream media, who want you to ignore the fact that the media picked Trump to be president. The media, the corporations, and the elite picked Trump. We did not pick Trump because we wanted anyone but Donald Trump. The corporate media even pushes the lie that, oh, the silent majority went out and voted for Trump. The silent majority voted for Trump. They went out and they voted for Trump. The marginalized people of the media went out and voted for Trump. No, that is not what happened. This paper gets an F. It gets an F because the Democrats have already won the swing states. The Democrats have already won the election. 46 electoral votes is going to the Democrats because the Democrats are actually going to go out and vote for anyone but Donald Trump. As a matter of fact, Donald Trump did not gain voters in Wisconsin. In 2012, Mitt Romney had 1,407,000 voters. In 2016, Trump got less voters in Wisconsin than Mitt Romney did. But the Democrats lost far more voters in 2016 than the Republicans in Wisconsin. These people here, the difference of 2,000 for the Republicans and 240,000 for the Democrats, means that Wisconsin is absolutely going blue. There is absolutely zero chance by the numbers that Trump is winning Wisconsin. You can forget about it. As a matter of fact, Clinton did not even campaign in Wisconsin. The difference between the Democrats and the Republicans in 2012, 213,000. The Republicans only had a difference of 22,000 voters. Donald Trump lost voters in Wisconsin. A similar story in Michigan, except that Donald Trump gained a really small, minor amount of voters. Trump only gained 164,000 voters from Mitt Romney. Meanwhile, the Democrats, they lost 300,000 voters. So the Republicans gained 164,000 votes, but the Democrats lost 295,000 votes. Part of the Republican votes that they've gained, don't forget, were from the Democrat side. But the Democrat differential is the biggest, which means that voters stayed home when the margins were super tight. The difference between Trump and Clinton was 10,000 voters. 10,000 voters was the difference. And the difference between 164 votes that the Republicans gained and 295, that's 130,000 differential. The differential between Obama and Romney was 450,000 votes. Michigan lost voters. Michigan, Bernie Sanders won the primaries. Because the primary winner in Michigan was not running the general election, and because Hillary Clinton was very disliked, and because Joe Biden wins Michigan this time around and Bernie Sanders lost voters, zero chance Donald Trump wins Wisconsin or Michigan easily. Now let's pull up the 270 political map for the election. And while we get there, voter turnout was at a 20-year low in 2016. This is a clue that we are going to be, in fact, seeing a blue wave of voters who helped take over many state legislatures and flipped and had the biggest House flip since Watergate. A voter turnout was at a 20-year low in 2016 before the 2020 election. And as the data shows, the Democrats lost far more voters than the Republicans. I can't go up on the graph. You see, that's 30% to 26%, but that's 26 to 28%. So if the Bernie Sanders voters went out and voted, if Bernie were the nominee, that would have been a landslide victory for the Democrats. And now Pennsylvania, this is a similar story. Now let me tell you the thing that separates Pennsylvania from Wisconsin and Michigan. Pennsylvania, the amount of voters that Donald Trump gained was 290,000 voters. So Trump gained 290,000 voters. Don't forget that there is something called population increase. Population increase is going to fix the numbers a bit. It's going to manipulate the numbers. Now, the amount of voters that Clinton lost, Obama voters that she lost, was 63,000. So Republicans gained a lot of voters, but those Obama voters wanted Bernie Sanders. These workers in Pennsylvania, some of them did go out and vote for Trump, but more people in Pennsylvania stayed home. The difference between Obama and Romney was 309,000 in 2012. The differential in 2016 between Trump and Clinton was 44,000 voters. So this is a traditionally Democratic stronghold, Pennsylvania. Voter turnout is going to be the key here. Voters stayed home, but also a large chunk of the voters went out and voted for the Republican Party. But the differential is not going to be 44,000 for the Republicans. It is going to go back to being in favor of the Democrats. The margin of victory throughout all three swing states in 2012 for Obama was 972,000 voters. That is 10 Michigan Wolverines big house football stadiums. Meanwhile, the margin of victory for the Republicans in the swing states was 77,000. So the margin of victory for the Republicans and the Democrats, once we do the math, the margin of victory is almost 8 to 9 times in favor of the Democrats in 2012 than the Republicans in 2016. And let me show you the multiplier here. Equal sign first. So D6 divided by D7. And this will show you how many times more the Democrats had voter-wise in 2012 than Republicans did in 2016. So this is differential-wise in these three swing states. Democrats had 12 times more voters differential-wise than Republicans did. All three of those swing states are going in favor of the 46th president of the United States. 20 electoral votes in Pennsylvania, 16 in Michigan. What's helping Joe Biden is that Joe Biden is from Pennsylvania, and Joe Biden won Michigan. Joe Biden easily won all three of those states if he is the nominee. Whoever Joe Biden picks as vice president, if Joe Biden dies, Elizabeth Warren easily wins all three of those states. Michigan and Pennsylvania, that's 20 and 16, that's 36. Who's going to decide this election? It is going to be Bernie Sanders supporters, aka Obama supporters. Obama voters back in 2012. Because it is Barack that has gematria of 36. COVID-19 is going to really hit Pennsylvania and some of these other places in the Midwest. This coronavirus pandemic, the disaster of Donald Trump and his handling of it, is going to decide this election in this Great Depression that we're going to have. Midwest is 30. Corona is 30. Vaccine is 30. How about the script of this election? How about the fact that Donald Trump won 304 electoral votes? And the fact is that the amount of electoral votes from 304, so far, that's 35 votes that Trump is going to lose out to, you guessed it, Democrats. Because you need 270 to win. It's Democrats that has gematria of 35. All these four references is revealed. But it is Obama voters that are going to be the key to defeating the narcissist, the Donald Trump. It is going to be the Bernie Sanders supporters. It's 2020. It's Midwestern states are going to decide the election. Not Florida, not Arizona, not some of these areas. The Midwest. The matriarchy and Elizabeth Warren becoming the president once Joe Biden dies. She is going to pick up the progressives, the Bernie supporters, and the Joe Biden African-American coalition that they have to defeat Donald Trump. Midwestern states. President Obama. Midwestern states is what's going to decide this election. And now, Obama voters are what is going to decide this election. Obama supporters, a.k.a. Obama supporters, Obama voters, or I should say they are Bernie Sanders supporters. It is really easy. Anyone but Donald Trump is going to win the election. Joe Biden already won Wisconsin and Michigan. It shows you that people are willing to vote for a moderate if it means getting rid of Trump. And they were brainwashed by the media. This is one of the biggest lies ever told by the media. The silent majority wanted Bernie Sanders and they stayed home. The silent majority is going to unleash the blue wave of 2020. This here is the biggest, most fraudulent lie ever told when Trump lost the popular vote by 3 million, when far more voters showed up in these Midwestern swing states in 2012 than they did in 2016. These states do not stand for Donald Trump. They, in fact, dislike Donald Trump completely. But what is helping Joe Biden is that he is far more likable than Hillary Clinton. America has had enough of this disastrous a reality TV presidency and this maneuvering towards being a banana republic. The silent majority, it has already happened. They stood with Bernie. They voted for Obama in 2012. The election is already over. And you can see here on the map, all it takes is these 3 states. 3 states to decide the election. Pennsylvania 20, Michigan 16, and then Wisconsin 10. This gives you the 46 electoral votes needed to elect the 46th president of the United States, which is going to be a Democratic president, because it is Democratic that has gematria of 46. This is how you know the blue wave is coming to sweep the Midwest. America's had enough of Trump, and people are going to show up to vote in order to dispose Donald Trump. It does not matter if Bernie Sanders is not the nominee. Joe Biden winning Michigan and Wisconsin only confirms this. The African American support for Joe Biden